I am a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, known as the Mormons. And some are familiar with the Book of Mormon because of the Broadway musical or whatever, but it's a book of scripture of Christ's visit to this continent. And in that book, there is a group of people called Secret Combination. They're basically a conspiratorial group of people who acquire political power through deceit. And then they use that power to oppress everyone else who disagrees with their agenda. And they murder and they commit whoredoms and all kinds of things and get away with it because their buddies are in positions of power. So this book, even though it's subtitled The Book of Mormon is Another Testament of Jesus Christ, and it's a message about Christ, it's also a warning manual about what these conspiratorial elements in society, these evil people can do. And this society, they're called the Nephites in this book, completely implode because they're just infested with these secret combinations. So all growing up, I've read this book and it's this warning manual, I think, for our society today. And so when I look around our society and I see so much corruption and so much conspiracy, I worry that the same thing that book describes can play out in our day. And I don't want that to happen. I don't want our society to implode and deteriorate and just become corrupt at the core. So for years, I have followed kind of conspiracy, whatever, right? Theories, if you want to call them that. And I never really followed Alex Jones too much, but just that world and the Bilderberg groups and the Trilateral Commission and all these people. So I had my finger on that pulse for a while. And now here I am doing these Tuttle Twins books. And I'm thinking, realizing that there are evil people doing evil things is such a critical way to better understand truth, to realize that truth is under siege, that there are people actively trying to deceive you. What better way to teach our young people critical thinking than to give them not conspiracy theories about maybe or what if, but conspiracy facts. So our book, when I decided to write this, I said, I only want to include conspiracies that are fully documented. The book, the filter is actual conspiracies for which there is unquestionable documentation. I'll share a very brief one. This is during the Cuban Missile Crisis. So the commies are in Cuba setting up shop, missiles and soldiers and everything. And there was this fringe group of activists in America that thought we should go to war. We should initiate military conflict in Cuba to stop the communists. Why do I say that they were this fringe radical group? At the time, polling very clearly showed that Americans did not want to go to war in Cuba. They didn't want to trigger World War III, but this group did. So this group came up with a plan. They said, what if we shot a bunch of people in like Miami and we shot down a plane? They bombed people in Miami. They shoot down a plane and they shoot a bunch of people on rafts fleeing Cuba in the search for freedom here in America. We'll kill all these people, but we'll make it look like the Cubans did it. This is what's called a false flag event, of course, stemming from the days of piracy when the pirates would put up a false flag to make you think, oh, it's another American ship, and you get close, attack you, and board you. So it's this act of deception designed to manipulate how people think and act. This fringe group of radical activists created this plan, and they somehow got an audience with the president of the United States, who at the time was JFK. JFK reviewed this plan. He's, no, we're not doing that. He rejected the plan outright. Now, the reveal here is that this fringe group of radical activists that I'm referring to was actually the Joint Chiefs of Staff of the United States military, the top brass of the Department of Defense, who, mind you, have sworn an oath to uphold the Constitution and protect American lives, literally proposed in a formal document that's been declassified. You can read it yourself. It's called Operation Northwoods. One word, Northwood. They proposed killing a bunch of Americans, making it look like Cubans did it, so that Americans would get angry and demand we go to war. The point is not to just point fingers or say evil or whatever. It's to say, let's be on guard for what's happening today.
Yeah.
It could be with the deal in Ukraine. It could be with Israel. It could be our economy. It could be manipulating jobs reports to try and make Bidenomics look good. Pick your issue. The point is, we are in a mind war and we will lose every battle we don't know is even being fought. You have to have defenses. You have to have weaponry. You have to have knowledge of the enemy if you're going to win in the mind war. The people who were most controlled by the matrix were the people who didn't know it even existed, which was almost everybody. So the point is, we have to red pill ourselves. We have to wear that psychological armor and have weapons and knowledge of the enemy if we're going to win. And so that's the point of this book with these 20 examples is look at all these past examples, but let them serve as evidence for you to realize that, oh my gosh, I need to be far more of a critical thinker and media skeptic today, assuming that we're just constantly being lied to by those who want to push an agenda.
My equivalent to that is like defensive driving on the freeway. I take a stance of defensive driving when I get in my car because I'm not going to assume that everybody is completely sober and 100% responsible and paying attention. Just the other day, I saw somebody swerving back and forth across lanes and I passed him and he's got his phone fully in front of his face. It just blew my mind. Like, whoa, that's crazy. So if you show up in a defensive stance to make sure that you're going to stay safe on the road, if you take that same sort of defensive stance when you consume media or you participate in conversations with people who are just reciting stuff from the media without having fact checked anything, or if you're being manipulated to vote in a particular way, whether it be through advertisements or what have you, you need to have that defensive stance. And that's what I take from what you were saying.
I think that's prudent. And because you're right, you never know the circumstances other people are in, their intoxication, their awareness. And I think the same is true of our society. And again, you go back to our earlier conversation about the public schools. Are those students being equipped with this type of knowledge, self-awareness, awareness of their external environment and the world around them? Or are they being put these like little woke goggles on, like this lens through which they look at everything in our society and it's all kind of manipulated? I think, again, the answer is self-evident. So this all boils down to just me as a dad. I want what's best for my kid. I feel like I'm in a position where I can help serve other parents with resources to help them help their kids. And for me, Stephan, it all boils down to this. I don't think we're going to save our country at the Capitol. I don't think we're going to save our country in the courtroom suing the government. I think if our country's to be saved, it's at the family dinner table.
Yeah.